Hey guys, FitzBro here, and today we are back with another Lakota strategy guide, and we'll be going over the Lakota semi-fast fortress build order. The first thing you're going to see me do is gather 200 wood to build my first trade route. Once I've queued up my first villager, I have moved 3 villagers over to gathering wood, and I will then move the 4th villager to wood and leave that last villager to pick up the rest of the crates. Now you will notice I had a nice close wood treasure at the beginning here that I'm going to pick up with my explorer. I highly recommend picking one up if you can find one. Sometimes you need to make sure you save your snipe for that wood treasure at the beginning if you're one to just spam any treasure at the start of the game in case there is a wood treasure close. Once I've collected 200 wood, I will move my villagers back to food and set that trade post down. Now you will notice that at the beginning, after I gathered the crates with that one villager, I immediately started herding that first hunt so it is nice and close like you see it here. Not as big as deal since I did have time to pick up a wood treasure, but if you are chopping all that wood, that first hunt can actually wander quite far away, so you want to make sure that hunt is nice and close to your first town center. I'm going to be using my rush deck, which I go over in my deck tutorial video, which you can find on YouTube if you want to learn more about the deck. And now that I've finished my first trade post, I'm just going to pick up some treasures, queue some villagers, and get ready to queue this 4 villager shipment as soon as possible. That is 4 villagers, and all those seconds really add up, so you want to make sure you get that queued ASAP. And I spend some time migrating my villagers over to hunts. Try to have no more than 2 to 3 villagers per hunt, per deer rather. And you only need to use that first herd to get the food you need to age up. Don't waste time herding at the beginning. You don't need that extra herd until you get into the next age. Once I've picked up that treasure that's close to the trade post, I will just run across the map, revealing other treasures. Maybe I'll find the enemy explorer and try to snipe a treasure. A nice strategy is to reveal a bunch of treasures and then look through the fog of war and see if you can spot the enemy explorer going for it. And right here, we did see that in the village, and the computer's doing something weird, but it could be a great way to pick up some extra resources. I will go with a 16 villager age up. Sometimes I do try this with 15 villagers if I happen to pick up a lot of food. It's kind of up to you, and try them out and see what you think. But as far as other treasures I'd like to pick up, I try to find food treasures to accelerate my age up into age 2. Once we hit 800 food here very quickly, I will be queuing up for the fast age up into age 2. Sometimes I like to do the 400 wood age up since they did nerf the fast age up. If I'm going to maybe do a few more things in age 2, it's kind of up to you. It is a semi-fast fortress, so don't be afraid of trying some other things with this build. Once I'm aging up, I do move all my villagers to wood and send 1 or 2 out to gather food to bring those herds back in towards the town center. You want to have nice, safe hunts to gather because you're not going to be making a lot of military, and you don't want the enemy to pick off your villagers getting food. Now, the number I was shooting for is 225 wood to build a stable and to build a tribal marketplace. You'll see I placed my tribal marketplace. Now, once I hit 200 wood, I will put down a stable, pull those guys off food, put them back to wood. I like to start with 3 villagers gathering gold, kind of midway through that wood chop. As you saw there, I threw that down because the gold takes a little longer. I like to build my stable with 2 villagers, keep herding in those hunts, and then the rest will just be going on food as I queue more vills. Once that stable gets built, I will queue up some axe riders. Now, perhaps you want to do bow riders. It kind of depends on what you're doing. If I'm playing against French, I'm definitely going to do axe riders because those bow riders are not going to do enough damage since they have that range resist with the CDB. So it kind of depends on what you want to do. But I like to do axe riders, really cheap on gold, and a little bit easier to get out. I'll keep eating my food. You see I've got them nice and close to the town center, so in case I get raided, I can easily hop in. I don't have a lot of forces. And what you can do here is use these 3 axe riders to pressure your enemy and keep them away from your base. If they're not making anything, you can just purely harass their villagers, but if they have any type of army, you might want to run around them and try to distract them from heading to your town center quite yet. And you see there, I actually had too many villagers queued up when it came to pop those axes, and I got rid of one of my extra in queue, which didn't really affect anything, but I would have missed an axe rider. If you're like me and spam villager queues, be careful. You might not have your food to get what you need to get that axe rider out. Okay, we got our 3 axe riders. We're going across the field to do some raiding. The second shipment is 700 gold, which you see, happened during all of that. It all happens very quickly, so you have to be really ready with this. So we sent 4 vills first on age up, and then we did 700 gold. Everyone's getting food except for I started with 3 on gold and then moved a 4th to gold because I was kind of feeling the macro. I was going to need a little bit more gold to get that age up. And feel free to move your villagers as you need to get that extra gold. The gold crates have arrived, so I'm going to gather those. I pull vills from food so that my gold, we keep gathering gold at the tribal marketplace. And I grab those gold crates. With the axe riders, I'll grab a villager or 2 if I can. Otherwise, I pull back and I might grab some treasures with them. You want to keep those axe riders alive, so don't just lose them on the town center or engaging units pointlessly. Keep them alive. They're going to make a big difference in age 3. I'm going to keep gathering some food here, and we're going for 1,200 food and 1,000 gold so we can get that age up. We'll be doing the Bison age up, which also gives a hunting bonus, which is really great because once you hit age 3, you have a lot of safe food around your town center in addition to the herds you might have brought in during age 2. So there comes the age up, and my next shipment is the 700 wood. Which you'll be used to build all the buildings you're going to need for H3 here. I will drop a market, and I will also drop a war hut, so I can start making Wakina. You can also, if you want to, build a second trade route in order to get a lot of shipments going, or you can use that 200 wood to upgrade your axe riders in H3 or your bow riders. It's kind of up to you, but in this case, I took a second trade route. Okay, the wood crates has arrived. I've started gathering those with the food. During age up, I like to have my villagers focus on gold primarily, because you will be getting food faster once you hit age 3, since you're going to get that hunting bonus. So I take advantage of that, and I try to maximize gold income during the age up, and then I'll move over to Bison once I hit the age. And in fact, I usually put more on gold during this time, and then sometimes I even pull them all off onto food if I've just gathered all gold. Kind of up to you and how you want to work that macro. We've got hunting dogs now on the way, so that stacked on top of the age up bonus is going to give you a lot of extra food income once you've aged up. And we've dropped our war hut. Once we age, I'm going to be queuing up Wakina and Rifle Riders. I really like Rifle Riders early on age 3 because if you beat your enemy to age 3, or if they're already attacking your base, those Rifle Riders are very good against age 2 units in general. Now, sometimes during transition here, I will queue up a bunch of Axe Riders, so the stable could be working. And perhaps that's what I should have done here. I might have just been, talking through this build. But it's kind of up to you and what you're feeling and what your enemy's comp is. And here I'm going to ship 9 Wakina, queue up my 5 Rifle Riders, and then I'll also be queuing Wakina at the same time. And I just keep the Wakina production going. You need a lot of Wakina as Lakota. So I keep making Wakina, and then I'll switch around my stable, whether I'm making Rifle Riders or Axe Riders, or maybe you want to go with the Bow Rider build here. Kind of up to you. Typically, I will grab some of my villagers off gold now and go to food. I probably have a little bit too much on food right now, or too much on gold, as you see here. But that's kind of, depending on, if I was making a bow riders and trying to get the upgrades, maybe I need all that gold. It kind of depends. Now, you will have an extra 100 wood if you built a trade route, and I like to use it to drop 2 TPs. Typically, your enemy's going to be in your base at this time if they're rushing you. If they end up attacking you, I love when they attack enemy when I have my Wakina and Rifle Riders in base, because you're going to be real safe with all that fire and those TPs. You're going to be in great shape. Sometimes I'll even put 1 or 2 villagers on wood to have the wood to get TPs as I, take an engagement in the middle of the map. But it's kind of up to you. So we got Wakina and Rifle Riders, and the next shipment I will queue up is 3 Takola soldiers. And if your enemy has not poked at your base at this time, I would start moving across the map and go start trying to pick off villagers, because they're probably just going all eco. But kind of scout and see what they're doing. Use those Axe Riders and the War Chief if they're across the map to check out what the enemy is doing. but don't just let them sit back. You want to, you spent the resource on this army, go take out some of their economy, try to do something with it. But of course, you don't want to get wiped out. So if the enemy does have a considerable force, turtle up by your TPs, play it safe, and wait for your Lakota soldiers to show up. And if I really think my enemy has a lot in their base, or perhaps I think I don't want to reveal my army early and I want to have a really large timing attack, I'll wait till 15-minute mark to do dog soldiers, which is really a great big button. And you can pull all your guys off gold and grab food to get that. But a lot of times, you want to be pressuring right now. Don't give them extra time to wait, and then wait to take that big decisive battle. Just kind of poke in and out with your army until you can get that big button. Now, in this case, you see I bought 100 gold at the market to drop my community plaza. I could have chopped for it, but a lot of times I like to get food and gold and just buy the 100 gold I need for that. I think saves time. And once you have that up, you'll see there are attack upgrades and siege upgrades or siege focuses for your army, depending on how many villagers you have working at the community plaza. As I'm moving across the map, I'll often have this in the XP dance so that or focus so that I can be getting experience towards my next shipment. And then I will transition it to attack as I meet the enemy's army, and then a siege as I see their buildings. Now, make sure you have that community plaza set to a hotkey so that you don't have to look at it as you're going across the map. You see I have it on resource right now, and I'm going to switch it to attack here in a second. Simulate what would be an enemy if this wasn't the easy computer. And I am shipping rifle riders next. I like to use all of my unit shipments early on, and then I will switch over to maybe eco or cav HP a lot of times with that big button if I turtled back. If you poke in here and you think you're going to lose a ton of units and you're not going to have a decisive victory here, pull back and wait for that big button. But in this case, computer doesn't have anything. Move in and use the siege dance. Anytime you're sieging, get your villagers on that siege dance. It's going to bring down that building very quickly. And a lot of times, you're going for a game-ending siege if you've committed to taking sides on something like a town center or a barracks that's in base. And with your army, in general, I like having axe riders and the Lakota soldiers just tank for those rifle riders. You typically want to have some hand cav to tank damage because the rifle riders will get eaten up pretty quickly. But that's kind of a rough overview of this strategy. And, it's a semi-fast fortress. Perhaps you want to play some colonial play with it. Maybe you should age up with 400 wood. There's a few different army comps you can try. Be flexible with it and experiment, and you're going to find what works for you. And you're going to need some different builds depending on the civilization you play and your opponent that is going to learn your strategy, over time. So thanks for watching this video. Hope it is useful in your Lakota gameplay. And if you want to see more, check out my other YouTube videos or on Twitch.